Richland Hills Public Library. I'm Miranda, the youth librarian, and this week we are doing monsters. So for our craft this time around, I'm going to show you how to create an ink blot monster. So you're going to need some paint, possibly a brush. I have a tendency to need one, and you'll see why in a minute. Possibly a pencil. Again, you'll see why in a minute. Some tape, possibly some pipe cleaners, aka chenille sticks, but these are not necessary, and again, you'll see why once we start putting everything together. Some water for your paint, pair of scissors, some paper. I would recommend that you do your actual ink blot on cardstock, just because it's a little bit sturdier, and then we're going to have some paper for like our extra appendages and things for our monsters. I'm using scrapbook paper, but you can use construction paper, computer paper, or whatever you've got. Okay, oh, and this is for something that I'll talk about a little bit later. I don't have a real die in the house, so I made one online with a template. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second too. So first, let's get our ink blot started. Okay, what I like to do first is to go ahead and create the crease that I'm going to need later. So let's go ahead and do that. Get it as nice and evenly lined up as possible. Okay. Alright. Here's our colors that we're going to use. And then you can use your paintbrush on this part, but I think I'm just going to kind of dab my colors that I want to use onto the paper. And as you can see, it is very goopy, and that's why I recommend having the paintbrush so that you can scoop some of that extra goop off if you want to. Okay. My brush. Okay, and then with my brush, I'm going to kind of spread out some of the goop, and the rest of the goop is actually going to go in my thing of water. And that way, it's not quite so messy here in a second. You'll see what I mean by messy.
Just on one side, right?
Just on one side. Yep, you do not want to do it on both sides. That kind of defeats the purpose of the project. Okay.
So nothing past the crease.
Yes, so our crease is right here. Nothing past that. Let's see how much of that extra. That's probably good enough. You can also use your paintbrush to do some extra designs if you're not happy with the way the paint came out on the piece of paper. But it's not necessary. All right, so then you take it and you fold it over. And then you press down, and this is where you're very likely to make a mess. I usually do because I put too much paint on the paper. Looks like we're gonna be good this time. So you press it all down, and then once you think you've got it nice and pressed down as much as you want, then you open it back up. Oh, look at that. See, from my angle, I'll turn it around so y'all can see, it actually looks a little bit like a butterfly. Now, for the next part, I've already made one that's completely dry, because you can see how goopy it is in places. You definitely want to set this aside to dry for a while before you do anything else with it. So we're going to set this one aside, and we're going to use the one that I've already made. To do the rest of our craft. Okay, so once you've got it done and it's all dry, then you're going to cut it out. And you can cut it out with a border, or you can cut it out right along the edge of whatever you've made. It's entirely up to you. Okay. All right, let's see. I think I'm going to put mine this way.
It looks like an Egyptian.
Oh, it kind of does. I see the eyeballs and then the headdress as it comes down. That's really cool. But we're going to make a monster out of it.
An Egyptian monster.
Well, maybe I should turn it around the other way then. Okay, so here's where your dice can come in. Or in this case, die, singular. So if you want to do have a little bit more science in with your craft, this is a fun way to do it because monsters don't necessarily have 2 arms and 2 legs and 2 antennae and 2 eyes. So you can use your die to tell you how many of something to make. So if I was going to say, how many eyes do I want? Then you can take your die. And that looks like a 6. I think, yes. So my monster is going to have 6 eyes. So let's get some of our black paint. And this part doesn't have to be paint, but since this is paint, and it's pretty rough textured, anything else, pins and markers, are not going to work as well. So then you just kind of draw your eyeballs. Oops. Except my paint's not that great. Very thin black paint. And they don't all have to be the same size. You could say, I'm going to have some really big eyeballs over here. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and color them in. So he almost looks a little bit like a spider now, with his big shiny black eyes. Okay, and then you can also do this for teeth, because he's got to have a mouth, right? So let's see, teeth. 7. Let's see. So I think I'm going to kind of trace the lines of the yellow here because that makes a nice smiley mouth. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where should I put the last one? Let's do it over here. 7. Okay. All right, so as you can see, we have our eyes, we have our mouth. Now, I think for the last part, I'm not going to do the die for the other pieces, but let's go ahead and make ourselves some antennae. Okay, so we had a little bit of technical difficulties. As you can see, I've got antennae on my monster now. I used the pipe cleaners and did a little curly-cue thing with my fingers to make the curly-cues work. And then I just attached them with tape on the back. But you can use, if you want them to be a little more sturdy, you can use a hot glue gun or Elmer's glue if you want it to take forever to dry. It's entirely up to you. I also got started cutting out the feet, which I decided not to use the die to do. Just like with the antennae. And we're going to get those finished cutting out and get them taped on. And then I'm going to show you something fun that you can do with the arms. Okay, so you can see I drew it on the back side. And that's so that I can have pencil lines to follow, but so that you don't see pencil lines on the other side where we're going to glue them down. And I say glue, but again, I think I'm just going to use tape. So, and we have to be careful because it is still wet paint. I think I want my feet to be out like that. Okay, let's get some more tape. Okay. Uh-oh, my tape's sticking together. And the chenille sticks are shedding. Okay. Alright, so now we have our feet. Set him there. And then for our arms, so I picked the striped paper for a reason. It's so that I would have lines to follow. And you can do your arms however you want to, but I thought that it might be fun to do accordion style arms. So I think I want 4. Alright, and then you just kind of go back and forth. Try to keep them about the same width from each other, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And then it's definitely okay if the last one has a little extra, because that's where you're going to tape it down. Let's see if I can do 2 of these at the same time. Make it go a little faster. I should have done the other one too. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, there we go. You can definitely do more than one at a time. Let's do our last one. And you can put claws or paws at the end of your arms if you want to. I think I will just leave mine the way that they are. Okay, now we need some more tape. Let's go ahead and get that prepared. Let's see here. All right, so I want them sticking out this way, so my tape is going to go on the back end like that with the sticky side out this way. Oh no. Okay, so now we're going to take our monster. Doesn't want to stick. I'm trying. I need to press down harder, but my eyeball is still drying. Okay. All right, so there you have it. You have a lovely ink blot monster. You can also turn this into a mask with a popsicle stick, and then you can cut holes out where some of the eyes are. You can also just put a popsicle stick on it to make it into a puppet as well. Lots of different options there. So there is the ink blot monster all finished. This does apply towards the mission for this week on our Summer Reading Club website. So if you create your monster and take a picture and upload it there, it counts towards extra points that you can buy really cool Summer Reading Club prizes with. So please use it there. I think that's it for this project. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to tune into our other videos this week. Miss Ann has a really cool story time that's available for the week, all about monsters and a little girl who hasn't found her monster yet, and she wants to find her monster that's meant just for her. And then we'll have another video, or this is the other video. I don't know what way she'll air them in. We'll have another monster craft video as well, so please keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a good day.